When I think about the counselor, I think about all the things that we have questions for, right? Many of us have questions about our lives, our situations, marriages, our jobs, our employment, our children, and so forth. When I think about that, and you say, hey, who can I talk to? Why not the counselor? The counselor is here. He's here for you. So call the counselor. 10 to 2, the counselor.
All right, we are back and welcome to The Counselor. I am your host, Sheldon Stovall. Today, we're going to be talking about a very sensitive but important subject, body image issues. And, I was thinking, how should we approach this? Talking to adults, these image issues have already kind of developed within inside. But we want to talk about the teens and the younger ones. How are children and teenagers affected by body image issues? And yes, our kids are being affected by this, right? So once again, we just want to offer you guys, if some of the subject matter kind of reaches you or you feel that maybe it might be you or someone you might know, you can always give me a call. The number is always scrolling down on the screen. You can email me at promo@thecounselor.live, or you can slide up in my DMs. All right, so how are very young children affected by body image? So these are statistics that I've kind of researched. At age 3, children begin to have opinions about their body, right? So cause of negative body images in daycare and age children, likely more due to social pressures than mental health disorders. So sometimes the children might, pick on each other, when they're younger, and then the poor baby will come home or they'll ask, what is that on your face? And, that starts early, right? How do children in daycare feel about their bodies? All right, daycare workers in the UK said they heard and saw children ages 3 to 5 engaging in the following statements or behaviors at these rates. So they're fat. 37% of the kids say they're fat. And I can guarantee you they're saying that because they're repeating what whoever is living in the house is saying, right? So if you find yourself always referring to yourself as fat, you're putting that towards your child. They don't know that they're fat unless someone tells them, right? I'm fat. 31% of them are starting to look at themselves already, identifying themselves as fat, right? I am ugly, right? What is ugly? I would love to know what ugly is. Ugly is when you're comparing something to something else, and one you might find beautiful and one you might find unattractive. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so what you might think is beautiful, someone else may not, and vice versa, right? So sometimes when I hear the word ugly, I'm concerned. I think it's just a word that someone put in because they couldn't think of anything else besides non-beauty, right? Non-beautiful to them. All right, so there's no ugly. I hate that word. It's a terrible thing to say to people. It really hurts their feelings, right? So kids, when you're starting to call someone ugly because they don't look like you, or their breath doesn't smell like yours does, or their armpits don't smell like your armpits. And by the way, you all stink sometimes. So just to let you know that instead of saying that about each other, right? You all stink. Let's go into your room and your sock drawer for a minute. All right? All that stuff is so mean, right? Stop doing that. All right. Avoiding food for fear of fatness, okay? When kids are starting that early, worrying about their body image, when they barely can get on the rides at Six Flags, there's an issue, right? So, the weight perception starts early. Now, how do 8 to 15-year-olds perceive their bodies? So these are some other stats I received. Number thinking they're fat or overweight, just under 18%. So not too many of them. Like, they're all pretty thin, or, they're diverse. They have a diverse, I've noticed at schools, when you see the school kids, it's diverse. No one's like too skinny and no one's too large. Everyone's kind of mixed in the middle, right? Attempting to lose weight sometimes within the past year, nearly 49%. So anybody who's feeling like they're, feeling like they might be overweight would want to start, losing a few pounds, getting themselves into shape. And again, these are 8 to 15-year-olds, right? So we all know we call it baby fat. It's going to fall off at one time. And then there's the same thing with someone who feels that they might be too thin, right? They want to gain weight. They eat constantly, and their stomach doesn't even move after 17 Whoppers. I know someone like that, right? They just eat and not even, Wow, love to be like that again. All right, so attempting to lose weight frequently within the past year. So once again, you ever meet these people, I'm going to start another diet, I'm going to start this diet, I'm going to start keto, I'm going to do this. People are always conscious about their weight. So this starts early, between the ages of 8 and 15s. And sometimes parents, we need to start paying attention to this. So once again, we're doing eating disorders. All right, percent hoping to lose weight, about 34%. So it's about a third of the teenagers who took this assessment. And then a percent of students hoping to stay the same weight, just over 22. So some people just made it past 100. Now you're in the 3 digits, I'm 100 pounds now, okay, great. Are you wet or something? Okay, so yes, sometimes when you're gaining weight, you're happy as well, because a lot of these kids, they start getting called skinny. You're skinny, right? That's how your body's made up, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. How do boys and girls differ in body image? So at age 13, boys and girls show similar rates of body dissatisfaction. So at 14, girls begin to show significant higher levels, and the levels increase for them and decrease for boys as they get a little older, right? So girls begin to start getting a little bit more self-conscious of themselves, probably because you boys be looking at those girls a little bit too hard sometimes, all right? So you're starting to make them self-conscious because you're looking at them, which is a natural thing, but that's what happens, right? So we're talking about body image. Okay. So how do kids and adults differ in body images and experiences? So 66% of people under 18 and 61% of people 18 and over feel negative or very negative about their body image all the time. All right. So what should we do about that? Okay. We need to start educating more schools or in school concerning body image, right? And this is the age of social media, whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not. We need to start talking about those TikTok videos that they're looking at, right? Or those Instagram photos that people are paying $3,000 and $5,000 for backing, as you can see, all about the image, right? The image. How do I look? Right? So it starts working on you as a person. So what do? Do we just sit there and let this happen to ourselves? No, we start looking for some help. Talk to some professionals that can help work you through these situations. Because once again, we're trying to work on our anxiety and our depression, right? And these are mental health concerns that we all have faced or can face in our lives. Right? So where does it start? It starts by not working on some of these things, not paying attention to what's being taught to you, right? So we're glad we have the counselor here, right? All right. What do kids think affect their body images? So they did a poll, they asked questions on what do kids think, right? So internalization of society's body ideals, criticism about one's appearance, and discussions with friends and peers. About half of them had a body image variance, right? So what should someone look like? What is the perfect body type, right? We look at even the models, like I'm telling my age again, when Tyra Banks was out there and Naomi Campbell and different ones, RuPaul and all those people that were the top models, right, in the 90s or something. I think it was the 90s or 2000s. Can't remember. But yeah, so Heidi Klum too. I'm trying to remember all of them. But yes, Kamora Simmons. All right, I remember that. I used to watch all the shows that came on for Valentine's Day with the Victoria's Secret models. Okay, I'm telling my age again, right? And they look very different now from the Kylie Jenners and the other housewife daughters that are now like supermodels, right? So, if you look at what people looked at and thought was beautiful then and what people are looking at and thought was beautiful now, the images look very different. So that comes from somewhere, right? That comes from social media. That comes from you learning and looking at things that make you want to desire to look like that. So it becomes some kind of image criteria, right? You see all these people on TikTok, on Facebook, like jumping on a pull-up bar and just doing as many as they can so their arms start shaking, right? Because they're trying to look a certain way. They want a 12-pack, right? They want to look like what they're seeing that people are getting the like button for, right? So it's nothing wrong with wanting to be healthy, but when you're killing yourself, starving yourself, and developing an eating disorder behind it, that's when we need to slow it down, because we're going to talk about the different types of eating disorders and the causes of and effects from this. All right. So some of these things can be very critical and crucial to you physically. So that's why we're bringing this up, because this is a real thing in America. And as I said, right now, we're just kind of giving you some stats on it. But we want to go more into the eating disorders. All right. How does bullying affect body image, right? Childhood bullying correlates with low body imaging during the teen years and disordered eating in adulthood. So, yes, you start getting called all these names by people that you go to school with. And it's so unfortunate, right? It's so unfortunate that kids are, we just say they're just kids. No, it's mean. I knew what I was doing when I was in 6th grade. I knew what I was doing in 7th grade. I knew what I was doing in 8th grade. I knew what I was doing in 9th grade. Do you understand? I even knew what I was doing in 4th grade. So, kid, don't let this foolishness blind you, parents. If you find your child picking on someone, you need to think about that and talk with your child, because that's not fair to that other person to be bullied because they live in the neighborhood that you're living in and they have to put up with your child, right? They have to put up with your child because everyone knows you're the one that let that child become the way it is, right? And so when your child is in school picking on people, calling them mean things, what type of child is that? So what I would tell you to do is bring them to the nearest church and dip them in holy water. All right? Shake them out a little bit. Help them wake up. Rub the oil across their face. All right? Get them a nice gloss on, and hopefully, they won't start shaking and seizing on the floor. Come on. That's not fair to pick on people, right? So parents, you have to find this out for yourself as well and ask them questions. I know I ask. Are you picking on people at school? Do you say mean things to people? These are things that parents, you need to start opening up and saying, because these cause a lifetime. People like that, they're causing a lifetime of damage on someone who innocently has to be in school with your child. These poor kids that have to deal with these bullies, it's ridiculous. I was fortunate. I had an older brother and an older sister, and I was happy and fine. I went right to my little nerdy classes and I was good. No one picked on me at all. Yeah. So I was fortunate, but a lot of kids aren't fortunate like that. They're going to school by themselves. They have to go to school too. And you got these kids that are just being not raised, right, properly by parents who think it's funny that you're picking on someone in school. All right. And I know we talk about a lot of bullying, and they have bullying policies in school, and I really like that. That's something that should have been there a long time ago. No tolerance to bullying. Get those kids out of that school. They don't belong. They don't fit in. They don't understand that they can't treat people in that manner. All right. Sounds like I've been bullied, huh? No, I haven't. Okay. How does body image affect children's social skills? All right. Children 9 to 12 in Spain who are happy with their bodies have greater skills to understand and appreciate the emotions of others. All right. So when you're a happier person, once again, when we're having these issues, it's all about who? Yourself, right? So when you're starting to be self-absorbed, worrying about how you look in a size 0, you look fine. Oh my goodness, I gained weight. I'm now a 1. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Come on. That is overwhelming and ridiculous. And guys, if you're requiring your girlfriend and your wife or your partner, your boyfriend, girls, vice versa, if you're doing that to people, you are a bully as well. Right? You are a bully because you're making someone feel like they have to fit into your mold. All right? So if I were you, I would go look at my grandparents. You're not going to look like that for the rest of your life. And just like how you require someone to look, what if they require you to look like you look for the rest of your life? All right? So if you do have grandparents alive, go visit. You're not going to always look like that. So all of this requiring things, and some of you young ladies that are falling for that game, they're bullies. All right? Leave those bullies to themselves. Let them go find someone else that's going to put up with that type of treatment for someone to require you to look a certain way. All right? If that is the case, all of us would be born looking the same way. And thank God I don't look like everybody else. So that's how I feel. I don't have low self-esteem. So I don't care what someone is thinking about how I should look. Thank you for your opinion. I appreciate it. Right? That's what you need to do, is you need to start understanding that you can't allow someone else to make you not feel good about what you see. Who you are is what you are. Right? You don't need someone to tell you what you should look like. That's what you look like. Okay? Now, as health-wise, if you're eating snacks every day and popcorn and, going to McDonald's 3 times a day and Burger King 2 times a day and Wendy's, and that's in between snacks and meals, now that's an issue, right? That's overeating, and we'll talk about that. That's another disorder. All right, so I want you guys to keep on watching. I know this is some heavy stuff. But I want you guys to stay tuned to The Counselor. We're going to be talking about body image. And if you feel that you've overcome some of these situations, I want to always remind you guys, I look at the stats, and my audience is anywhere between the ages of 18 and 24. All right. There's also an audience about 30 to 45 that's growing quickly on my YouTube channel as well. So thank you guys for watching. I am The Counselor, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon. Look at the video that's coming up next. That is part 2. So stay tuned to Eating Disorders on The Counselor.
When I think about The Counselor, I think about all the things that we have questions for, right? Many of us have questions about our lives, our situations, marriages, our jobs, our employment, our children, and so forth. When I think about that, and you say, hey, who can I talk to? Why not The Counselor? The Counselor is here. He's here for you. So call The Counselor. 10 to 2, The Counselor.